Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and a ton of people have been requesting nonstop that I revisit this deck now that Ravnica Allegiance came out, and I was absolutely blowing through the Platinum League with it, and I just qualified for Diamond with it, with about a 70 or 80% win rate with just this one deck. I was running what I consider to be a more powerful deck, but this seems to be a better match for the meta now, a couple weeks after RNA came out. Well, more than a couple. And the funny thing is, I just realized this was the first deck that I built, a form of this, when I first started playing Arena. Then after the server wipe, it's still the first deck that I rebuilt. And now it's my winningest deck after the league reset, or whatever you want to call it, season reset, or whatever it is. So this is perpetually good. It's just a solid deck. It's not necessarily the best deck in the game right now, but it gets results. People who comment every time I mention this, they leave a comment saying, but it's not as good as you think it is. How do you explain me playing with exclusively this and making it to Diamond? I'd love to hear your explanation. So anyway, we've got Healer's Hawk in here because this is just an all-in lifelink, extravaganza, basically, just life gain triggers. So, of course, I'm running 4. Leonin Vanguard, passive. It's guaranteed a 2-2 for 1. I mean, that's just aggressive. Then we got Moment of Triumph, which is a flat +2 no matter what, instant speed +2/+2. So, save your creature from a lightning bolt, possibly some other power and toughness-based threats, but mostly it's just for surprising the person or a win con, because sometimes 2 extra damage and then maybe some triggers after that, it's enough to finish the person off. Well, you'll see the gameplay shortly at the end of this video here. Then we got Take Heart, which is very similar. +2/+2, instant speed, 1 cost, and then you gain 1 life for each attacking creature you control. So they're practically the same card, honestly, and they're both very good. Then we've got just 1 Adanto Vanguard, because yeah, it's a 3/1 for 1, and it's persistent. Maybe the deck should run 2. I mean, I'm considering cutting an Impassioned Orator, but I don't know. They're both equally slower and not Ajani's Pridemate. Speaking of that, Ajani's Pridemate. But I should say, in case you're not familiar, this, when it's swinging, is a 3/1 for 2. So that's huge. Pay for life, which you almost always have, and it gains indestructible. So they just can't get rid of this. It's so stupidly annoying. I hate it. That's why it's in this deck. Ajani's Pridemate, if this is in your opening hand, you almost can't lose the game. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. This is, in the right deck, more powerful than Tarmogoyf, by far. I mean, you're going to get more damage on turn 4 with this thing than any Tarmogoyf in any deck ever made. So, very underestimated card, I would say. I'd even say earlier, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, it was probably ban-worthy. But, nothing prevents it from getting blown up, so I guess people just dealt with it. Then we got Dawn of Hope. Whenever you gain life, pay 2, draw a card, and then pay 4, create a soldier. So this is just to beat any kind of drain away deck. You just get unlimited creatures. I mean, once you get to 8 mana, that's it. I mean, they would have to have more kill spells than they can reasonably draw, unless they're running like something weird like flyers. I mean, this deck can lose, but this is the insurance policy. It's really a shame if this is in your opening hand, but that's why there's only 2 of them. Then we got Mr. Impassioned Orator, the big addition from RNA. He's a 2/2 for 2, which is solid, and then whenever another creature enters the battlefield, including from Dawn of Hope, you gain 1 life. So that's just a really nice trigger. It guarantees that Johnny's Pridemate would enter after it as a 3/3, which lets it avoid shocks. Sometimes. I mean, it is technically a trigger. It at least protects it if they're temporarily out of mana, and then boom, they're out of options, which a lot of red decks will tap out during their turn. Then we got 1 Benalish Marshal, just because, it's a lot of extra damage. If you really wanted, you could scratch him and go all 2 drops. It's not great to see this guy in your opening hand. You could replace him with the 2/2 lifelink Vampire, which is what I cut to put an Impassioned Orator, because it just seemed like this trigger goes off more often and easier than having to swing with a 2/2 and just hoping it doesn't die, and then having to waste one of these boosts on it, which is really stupid. So he's there. I mean, whatever. I might cut him, but then we got Mentor of the Meek. I didn't want to get too 3 heavy because remember, we got Resplendent Angel in here, but I mean, he just keeps on going. You can drop him in, and then the very next turn, if they just keep blowing your stuff up and dragging the game out, dump like 6 creatures in a row off his ability. It's ridiculous. I mean, you only have to pay 1. That's huge. And it's not non-token. So once again, it works with Dawn of Hope. This deck's really tight. Then we got Resplendent Angel. I mean, it's 3 damage in the air for 3, so that's already insane. There's a reason this is a mythic. You could pay 6 and give it +2 in lifelink, which will be +5. And then whenever you gain 5 or more life at the end of that turn, you create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Oh my gosh, this thing is hyper powerful. So you can usually get that with 1 cast of Take Heart or Moment of Triumph. So yeah, I make a lot of use out of this trigger. It's kind of like a late game long shot, maybe even mid game, but as soon as you get the angel out, they tend to just forfeit. Then we got Conclave Tribunal. We got 4 of those. This deck doesn't get to 4 very easily. It does run 21 planes. I'll get to that in a second because it shouldn't. But yeah, it exiles anything. Planeswalker, flyer, stupid Is It Drake garbage, just whatever, Chromatic Lantern, like you name it, it's a problem. Get rid of it. Bye-bye. Divine Visitation, I've nuked it with that. Then we got Ixalan's Binding. And honestly, it's hard to argue that this shouldn't have 3 of these in 20 planes. The problem is the Shuffler and the Open Hand Rigger. If you drop below 21, you're going to have huge problems in Arena, because 21 divided by 60 when you round is like a certain ratio, and there's failover priorities, and it's a whole thing. Just look into it. There's whole articles written about why this is such a disaster, but this deck honestly should be running 19 planes. But when I did, I kept getting 1 land openers. Oh, so bad. Even now with 21, it seems to get kind of low. But I wouldn't run any kind of memorials, nothing. Just keep it simple, 21 planes. By the way, speaking of keep it simple, this is like 3 mythics, 5 rares, and the rest are commons and uncommons. And all these cards are old as hell pretty much. So I can almost guarantee if you've been playing Arena for a while, you can build this. So you can build whatever version you want. You can just say, you know what, I don't even need this. I'm just going to rush. It's kind of putting all your eggs in one basket with the Ajani's Pridemate, because I do win with Resplendent a lot. But if you wanted to, you could even just say, screw it, Suicide Blitz, get rid of Conclave, get rid of Ixalan's, put in 4 charge and the 2 damage first striker for 2, and just be like, let's go. We're swinging every single turn, because then you'd have combat ambush almost every single time with 4/4 and then 4 charge. And then just have no option to win the game really past like turn 4. In fact, you could get rid of Mentor the Meek if you really wanted and just go all out blitz. I do have a deck like that. It doesn't work as well. I will just tell you right now, it does not win as much, but it is a very fun, very fast version of it. A lot of people run Ajani's Welcome, pointless. Fountain, pointless. Doesn't do anything to accelerate the game. It's just, ooh, more life, more triggers. So what? Who cares? You need creatures, you need damage, you need to swarm, and you need to ambush them with these 2 spells right here. So let's see this deck in action. Oh, right after I show you this. This is the cost distribution right here. And honestly, it's not quite accurate because Conclave is not always 4. It has Convoke. But yeah, that's 35% land. It really could be lower with the cost curve. I mean, you do want to get Resplendent's ability off sometimes, but if they're dragging the game out that far, that's probably what's going to happen anyway. You're going to get there. So anyway, okay, gameplay time. All right, let's watch a ideal game. I'd almost call it a typical game, honestly. So we got Healer's Hawk. That's nice. I didn't start with Ajani's Pridemate. You only got, I think, a 42% shot of that being in your opening hand, but oh, look, there he is. So there we go. Got the +1. We got a 3/3, so that's 4 damage. Going first with this deck is just huge. It's almost impossible to play around. Then we got 3. We got Orator there, and then boom, get the life gain. There's Ajani's. He now does not have Summoning Sickness. That's sick. Sick. That is sick. That's 6 damage. That's what I meant to say. So he drops, finally something, Chromatic Lantern. I honestly never figured out what deck this is. It looks familiar, but let's just say he doesn't get to play anything. So I get all the life gain triggers, the start of combat trigger, there's the boost, boom, lethal, oops, I'm sorry, did you want to run your degenerate pile of garbage? Too bad. Now that's a useless opening hand, completely unplayable. Go to number 2, okay, cool, get rid of the Orator. I mean, it would be a lot of life, which now that I find out he's running red, okay, I might have kept that if I knew that, but you really just need to get to the Ajani's Pridemate or just something better than another Orator. Because you never know when another creature's coming. I mean, yeah, it's creature heavy, but hey. By the way, this guy, you wouldn't believe how slow he was playing. I sped this way up and cut some of it. Red Rush players that are playing an ultra fast blitz deck but then play it really slowly, I'll never understand it. So this is some kind of weird goblin synergy, and I don't know why he's playing such trash like this in Diamond League. Like, this is not an ideal Red Rush deck at all, and it's not even full Goblin Tribal. Anyway, I bring up Benalish Marshal, so it's like, oh, now what's he gonna do? He had a pretty weak open too, and he gets a little bit land flooded in this one. But he does end up nuking the Crater Maker himself and then wasting a shock. So that's 2 cards, 2 permanents to get rid of 1 permanent. Not good when I'm at 16 and he has 2 cards left in hand. That's why this isn't exactly Red Rush or Red Winds or Red Burn. I don't know what this is. A bad deck, I guess? So we got Leonin Vanguard, and we've got Dawn of Hope, which is nice because that's the card that beats red anything. There's the mandatory swing, so I know there's not a trick behind it, or at least I'm pretty confident. And there's Pridemate, so the game is over. I've got a Moment of Triumph and 1 mana open, so he is officially out of the range of anything, including Fight with Fire, which is nice. And that would single-handedly boost him. I thought about it, but then I thought, nah, one of those could be removal, and I don't want to lose any of those 3. Nope, it's a Mountain and a Raptor Hatchling, apparently. Why he's playing that, I couldn't tell you. It just doesn't seem like a good deck, and their way I got it covered. That Moment of Triumph insurance policy is pretty damn nice. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, let's just swing all out. Screw it. Like, do I want him to get the dinosaur? Would he block with this? Are there any tricks he can do with Legion? Not really. I decided, screw it, let's go. So this is what happens all the time. Double block, and then, oops, you lost both of them. Whoopsies. And I got a boost on Ajani. He knows he's done for, and he forfeits. So even with a pathetic start, you can turn any game around. So this is a pretty good start, although we got Pridemate with 1 source of life gain and then 2 angels. Not good. That's why cutting the entire high end out of this deck wouldn't be terrible, but you better win by turn 4 or 5 or you're in trouble. Now this is mono blue. Searcher can't, it slows him down. Okay, cool, we got an angel out, whatever. Then he plays a Djinn, which is normally not good because it's bigger than the angel, but I've got the Convocable Exile, but I thought this would be way more fun. Boom, ambush, 5/5 into a 3/4. Of course he's going to block it, duh. Then we got Dawn of Hope, because in mono blue, I don't need to cover these in case of 3 direct damage. That's not what they do. So I hate that stupid thing because now my exiles will get countered, but it is what it is. He lets it straight through, and I thought, well, screw it. He actually counters it, which is obnoxious, but that's a lot of damage. He's down to 6. So I ended up boosting on top of it in case you missed that. So I think it would have not quite been lethal anyway. It would have missed by 1 point. So now I just think, you know what? Let's hold on to the exile because he has to block. So now it's gone. So it's why exile it? Plus, boom. Third option, oh no, I ate a counterspell, I'm so crushed, who cares? And you wouldn't think this deck plays around control, but it does. There's a second copy of the most powerful card in the deck, and I pulled the Plains, which is cool. I don't know what I was waiting for there. I think I was doing some math. Oh yeah, Conclave Tribunal. And then this butthurt little complete jackass, you know what, speed it up to 500%, Editor Des. He decides, oh, I'm so butthurt you beat my tier 1 deck with your jank deck. Wow, I'm gonna cry to my mommy. And he times it out. And yeah, I time people out all the time, but it's only when they're running just a waste of time, drag it out, draw and board wipe control deck. Like anything Dimir, any 3-color Teferi trash. If they loop Nexus 5 times, I'm gonna time him out every time. But this guy, oh wow, his incredibly fast damage blitz deck beat my slow blue control deck. You think? This is supposed to be tier 1. Channel Fireball told me this is one of the best decks in the world, and I'm entitled to a free win with it. The username, by the way, in case you didn't catch what I did with the cursor there, was NIVIS. So special shout out to Nivis for being a little bitch. If you get that butthurt over a 2-minute game of Magic, maybe you shouldn't be playing Magic. Okay, so you cherry-picked it, and the deck can't come back from an absolute disaster, can it? And look at this open. My God. I'm not going first, which not a fan of, but come on, today it's Surveil 2, and I've got the footage at 200%. There we go. You got to say nice. If you bring out 3 Leonids, you got to give them a nice. All right, there we go. So he unfortunately, I think, blows up both of them. Yeah, shock to 1. Lava Coil to the other one. So that's nice. But, you know, I've got options. It's not over. I could pull a Pridemate at any time. I am totally screwed for mana, but, I mean, I got a 2 cost, 1 cost, 1 cost, not the end of the world. He wastes a Banefire, and I mean wastes. If you see what was in the rest of his hand, that was not a correct use of Banefire, but okay. Hey, look, an Enigma Drake. Yup. Hey, look, it's gone. That's why I've got Exilers in the deck. I used to run this with 8 total Exilers instead of 6, and it was actually hilarious, but you get 2 of them in your opening hand, and you almost like have to rely on them and have to let the game go. So there we go, double boost, killed the stupid Drake. That's Drake number 2 down. Of course he has a third one because, you know, this deck is basically just automatic miracles. He pulls an Opt, so I'm probably thinking, oh, I'm in trouble, except we got Adanto, cool. 28 to 15, okay. That's why just leaning on life gain is not very smart. I could have 100 life at this point, and it doesn't really matter because the Drakes can hit for like 7 to 15 damage per turn. And, oh no, Conclave Tribunal, and he counters it. That's a shame. So game's over, right? I mean, would I have uploaded it if it was? So swing down to 10, which is why Adanto Vanguard's so hilarious. Search for his Kante, flips it. That was a pretty good decision in my opinion. I mean, it won't help him get another Drake, but it will help him get my creatures off the field, potentially. And there's the Lava Coil. So there you go. So he gets rid of the bird. Very smart decision there, because I could have chumped the Drake with it. Doesn't have trample, of course. He's up to 10. Here's Ajani's Pridemate. Little late, but it's funny. And the thing is, now he is in trouble. He can only hit me for 10, and I could hit him back for 5. That's why in early game blitz into just getting everything destroyed, basically, you can come back for it. You got the life gain buffer, and you got the aggro, and he is dead. I mean, they don't get much worse than that as far as gameplay goes, honestly. And I don't mean to, like, falsely indicate that this deck can suck its way out of anything 100% of the time, but it just seems lucky. I mean, you seem to pull a remover when you need one, or exile or whatever. You seem to just get really fast, like turn 4 kill synergy once in a while. Anything that just establishes a board presence by turn 4 but doesn't really do anything, automatically dead right off the bat. I mean, this deck is just good. It's not perfect, but it's very good. And you can up the aggressiveness and lower the late game options, get rid of Resplendent, get rid of your draw options, go all in blitz, all in boost, maybe even put in like a better white draw engine like Revitalize. That would be more for Resplendent, but I mean, it is what it is. You could do first strikers mixed in with it. You could go 4 Adantos, 4 first strikers, get rid of the whole top end. I mean, I gutted all the Ajanis out of this deck because I'm like, I don't need that much of a top end. I just need to win. I just need to out blitz the 3-color control decks, which there's like 8 of them right now. And then outdo the red decks as well. Just play around them. Where if I have a Planeswalker and a 3-cost creature and then like a Benalish and they start blowing up more expensive stuff with lightning strikes, I'm in trouble. So you just need to swarm with 100% synergy. We're talking ETB synergy. We're talking life gain triggers. And if they printed anything that even resembles an Ajani's Pridemate or does anything significant with a life gain trigger in the next set, this will be the #1 deck in the world by a long shot. It's already really close because before RNA came out and even a little bit after, Boros Rush was super a thing, especially with Heroic Reinforcements, one of the most broken cards in all of Standard right now. Thank God it's not that popular of a deck. I mean, this deck just goes and it's got combat tricks. I mean, you start mixing red in and watch out. You've got like Sure Strike. There's a First Strike card draw card. In fact, I think there might be 2 of them unless they reprinted the same one. Well, then you got the Mentor ability, which turns everybody into Ajani's Pridemate. So there are ultra-fast blitz decks out there. I just think this one's a little bit more balanced. It's just, you can't get color screwed, which is good because it's fast. Like, you can't get color screwed, or you will lose an entire turn, which will lose you the entire game. That's why mono white is just a little bit more consistent. None of the lands come in tapped, none of them are the wrong color. Simple. Now, I run this at FNM, and I very commonly sweep absolute first place. I think I've came in first place with quite a few people there 3 or 4 times with this deck. I mean, the sideboard, are you kidding me? First strikers and seal away and settle the wreckage? Or just double down on even more Ixalan's bindings just in case they're running something weird where you need to remove stuff? Oh, that's rough. There's a lot of white answers to a lot of things in Standard right now. If they're running something fast, your whole sideboard can be just gut the whole top and go all in blitz, everything costs 1 or 2. Oh, they're running removal heavy or board wipes? Just run Hunted Witness and a couple other things that have to be killed multiple times, because when they die, they bring back, basically just Afterlife, or they bring in a vampire or a human soldier or whatever. So this is a pretty flexible deck, but the archetype is there. So just to teach all these, like, Esper control, what else is out there? Jeskai control, that's a fun one. That's a Teferi deck. Literally any 3-color combination ever control is pretty much a thing right now. But they're all slow, and this deck can survive a board wipe. I mean, it can either just keep going, it can regenerate with the Mentor of the Meek. You got your Dawn of Hope unlimited tokens. I mean, it has a chance against decks like that. Control heavy point removal, they're spending more than you are, and you're just crushing them and gaining life in the meantime. You're going to win every time. And Red Rush, the other archetype, it's just 3-color control with a ton of draw and a ton of control options with like narrow win cons, and then Red Rush. Those are the only archetypes that I'm seeing right now. Well, Red Rush beats it too, so especially with a sideboard in First Strike, it is over at that point. So in other words, run this, it kicks the crap out of the meta. And remember, playing mostly this deck for at least the last 5 days. It took me 8 total days from the absolute day I entered Platinum League at Tier 4 to Diamond League Tier 4. It took me 8 days. That's it. I mean, when you're winning 70-80% of your matches, it goes real quick. The thing is, mulligan decisions. Do not, under any circumstances, even at a 6 draw, keep something that is not going to win, because you are not going to pull your way out of it. It's just going to be too slow. If you're looking at like 3 boost spells, 3 or like 2 Resplendent Angels and 2 lands, don't even think about it. You are not going to win with those Angels. Never going to happen. You've got to have your low end. You've got to have something good, preferably Ajani's Pridemate. So if you find yourself losing with this deck, mulligan more aggressively, more often, and be more picky about what you start with. And honestly, even I was slightly misplaying that, because I try to force stuff a lot and I really shouldn't. It's basic, it's simple, it's consistent, it's easy, and it's monocolored, but that doesn't mean it's going to suck its way out of some garbage keep. You would think it would, but it won't. Now, trying to win the game with like an opener of 5 cards, that's rough, but remember, you get that free scry, which is huge. So that is how you pilot the deck. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Please, please, please go on to Arena and just wreck the meta with this deck. Deck list in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.